You're like a bull and a rabbit out there to have a...
Hey guys, I'm Jen Rogers from All Clear Farm, and this is my boy Elton. He was a Black Friday purchase a few years ago, off the track thoroughbred who happens to move like a warm blood and is incredibly athletic. But we've been having some trouble with him kind of last year with some pretty severe bucking issues to the point where he dumped me pretty good in August. So we wanted to try to get to the bottom of everything, and turns out he's got kissing spine, which I've been familiar with, but this is my first course with it. And so we have made the decision to try to do the ligament surgery with him. He's a pretty good candidate for it, and he is heading down to the hospital today. I thought for those of you, so many of you that are probably dealing with different behavioral issues with your horses, potentially dealing with a kissing spine issue, maybe I would go ahead and document this whole journey with him and see how everything comes out, and see if the information can be helpful to everyone out there who might be dealing with the same problem. So we're gonna go ahead and load him on up to take him over, and we stay tuned and we'll keep you posted. Hey guys, it's Jen Rogers again with All Clear Farm. I'm here with Elton, just kind of trying to keep documenting his kissing spine surgery journey. It's been about a month. We're now down in South Carolina, and I just want to zoom in on his little incision area here. As you can see, everything looks really good. It healed up really well. He's not too sensitive along the surgical site. So we're really happy. He actually got to start going into regular turnout, which was huge. And we're starting to do some lunge work with him, which I'll be documenting in the next little section here. But one of the things they do have us do with, probably most horse people are aware of, is just doing some stretching work with them with carrots, just to get him to really reach and use all these muscles. So we've been doing that as well, trying to get him to stretch as much as possible. So we're just going to continue documenting, and hopefully this can be helpful to all of you out there that potentially deal with, hey, the same situation. Thanks.
You're on.
Good morning, Jen Rogers again. We're here with Elton. We're talking about, as we're progressing forward from the kissing spine surgery, we're into lunging now, and basically each day I set a timer and we increase the amount of lunging time he's doing. The thing that's been very, very exciting, we're probably on our 6th day, I think, down in South Carolina now, and he typically in a lunge session would let loose with some pretty big bucks, usually anywhere from, half a dozen to a dozen big bucks. And so far, since we've been back going, he has yet to let loose with one of his heels above the head bucks, even when things have spooked him and he's done some scooting, that kind of thing. So we're fairly excited about that development, and we're going to go ahead and get going here. Usually just do a combination of both walk and trot. And every day we're just increasing the amount of time he spends, equal both directions. Trot. Trot. So in this video, you'll see the very first ride on Elton, which I believe was about 6 weeks after the surgery. I simply, after doing a lunging session, got on him and probably did about 5 minutes of work with him, I believe, at the most. And it was just a matter of moving around a bit under tack and getting a feel of how much was he going to react to the saddle or me in the saddle. And you can see there's just a bit of silliness, but in general it went quite well, and we didn't have too much of an issue with any bad behavior. Although I will say typically this horse would be fairly consistent on the flat. Occasionally canter work would cause some of the issues, but typically our problems were much more when specifically in show jumping. But after this, we continued to put the time and put the rides in, slowly build him up, and eventually began a little bit of jumping. And every time we had a jump session with him and it went well and there wasn't any bucking, we just got more and more excited about the way things were looking. I think after having such a history with him, it was hard to not be a bit defensive and expect for things to go a different direction. But once they kept going in the positive direction, we got more optimistic. And this video is actually his first time off property, headed to a schooling show. This would be probably close to exactly 4 months after the surgery. We went to just do a bit of a show jump round with him at one of the local unrecognized shows, and I was very, very nervous, I'll admit. I just know sometimes when you added the fuel of a bit of that anxiety of a competition and being in a unfamiliar location, his behavior could deteriorate. But as you can see, even there, where he's wanting to push a little bit towards the out gate, that did not turn into something more significant. And I think every time I experienced sort of that twinge of anticipation that he was going to let loose with one of his sort of back-cracking bucks or, some other unwanted behavior, and that continued to not happen, I started to really get excited and believe that we had a very improved version of, what we've always known to be a pretty darn nice horse. So this was the one schooling show that we did get him out to. This was pretty late in our trip
down south. So at that point, we were gearing up to head back home and actually looking at trying to get to our first recognized show with him, which we did do at the end of May. He was pretty super, did quite well on the flat, and had 2 incidences of a bit of bucking in show jump, and then 1 out on cross country, but overall was pretty darn good and finished, I believe, 6th. And then this footage is from his next recognized event, so this would have been in June. This is roughly about 7 months after the surgery, and he had quite a good dressage, I believe like a 29, and great on cross country, and now we're back in the show jump, which is typically where all of our problems would unfold. And this was actually his sort of first official show jump round with really, quite consistent behavior. I would still say he's not as rideable as he is now, present day, but everything that just kept getting better. And, there had been a lot of rails falling at this competition, and we were working hard just to try to get a clean round. And you will see at the very last jump, he does have a pull down, and he lets out a pretty big sort of kick out / buck that I think possibly was more in reaction to having the pull down. But he did finish 5th at this competition. I was really starting to get excited, just getting to trust him a bit more, believing that, that behavior wasn't going to just all of a sudden show itself again. And, just looking that we could finally head forward and feel that we really have a different horse on our hands. It's exciting. And, he just continued to do better every competition going forward. He ended up winning in July, which then led to us qualifying for the AECs, heading to the AECs, and really having a lot of success. He was reserve high point TIP and finished very respectably in his division. So we're thrilled with the outcome with our Elton, and would be happy if anybody has any questions. Please feel free to reach out, and we are happy to share our experience.